We are back in Bus Simulator 21, embarked on a route to go pick up some people from the tourist park. And, I thought about how this is a chill game. It's not a difficult game, exactly. And yet, it can be challenging. Challenging because the goal is to drive a bus route correctly. There's not really any combat or anything extremely, exciting in the game. It's just about chilling and driving a bus. And yet, the reality is, if you pay attention to what you're doing and you take it slow and you try to do a realistic job of driving your bus around town, then it's actually more complicated and difficult than you would think. Difficult because you have to try to avoid colliding with anything. You have to try to avoid speeding or hitting potholes or failing to wake up a sleeping customer or whatever it might be, right? The game is all about taking it slow and trying to have a realistic experience. I mean, it is kind of an arcadey sort of a game, but it's not meant to be treated like a racing simulator. It's meant to be something that you put effort into doing well, not something you put effort into doing fast. And that's one reason why games like these are sort of a chill, positive experience for a lot of people, because it's all about mindfulness. And I think that there's a lesson in there about how sometimes we try to get results quickly, but what we really should be trying to do isn't to achieve something impressive. It's more about just trying to have a good experience with what you're currently doing. If you were going to go out and mow your lawn, would you try to mow it fast or would you try to mow it well? You get all the lines right, you get all of the edges, you take your time, you put effort into it, and then maybe you'd be proud of the result when you're done. That's what's fun about a game like this. Trying to do it well instead of just rushing through the courses as quickly as you possibly can. But I think we always have the temptation to approach games like this with sort of a flippant attitude. Like you want to, see how fast you can go and see if you can, run over pedestrians or something. And, if you're looking for it to be, like Grand Theft Auto, it's not going to be like that. It's all about, having a chill experience. And here we have, we got the tourists just running all over the place, trying not to run them over. So we're going to turn our turn signal on and, prepare to pick up these folks. We're going to kneel the bus. We're going to open the door and prepare to give them some change and some tickets. Yep, there we go. You have to give the customers their ticket and then give them their change so that they will be able to ride the bus. And that counts against your timer, so every time somebody asks for a ticket, you're actually going to be running a little bit more late because of them. Anyways, that's all right. We've successfully picked up some customers, and now we're going to try to get out of the tourist park without crashing into anything or anybody and make it back to the terminal. When you focus on trying to take life slow and do it right, then anything you are participating in can become sort of a challenge. Like maybe you want to stop doing so much water cooler gossip, you know? You want to not talk bad about people or not think bad about people. And so you make it sort of a game, you know? How long can you go without talking crap about somebody or thinking something negative about somebody? And, you know, you might find that if you make a game out of it and you start paying attention to watching what comes out of your mouth and being mindful about those things, then, you know, that itself becomes the challenge. It's not about trying to prove that you're the most interesting person in the room. It's about proving that you can keep your mouth shut when you're tempted to speak out of turn. You know, there's so many things we can do. Even if you have a mundane, everyday job that just doesn't feel like it has anything exciting going on in it, you can still go to work with the intentionality that you're going to do the very best you can, to be competent at what you do, to be successful at the small things which you are charged with. And if you do that, then you get a sense of satisfaction when all is said and done, not because you've done so much, not because you've done something incredible, but because you've done something right. And that can itself be its own reward. Right here, we're going around this corner, trying to make sure we don't crash the bus into the guardrail. And I'm going to merge and, you know, hopefully not get cut off by any traffic. Looks like it's going to be a successful loop here in just a minute once we get these passengers back to the terminal. I was talking in a recent video about this guy who lived next door to, and we were talking the other day, just, you know, babbling about life. But man, I can't seem to avoid the guy sometimes because he lives in the same building as me. Seems like it's like Murphy's Law, you know, like every time you want to go in or out, the dude is just sitting there on the porch, like on the steps. Like I can't go in or out without seeing him and saying hi. And, you know, you ever try to talk to somebody and then, shoot, somebody wants to get off. Well, get off the bus then. Get out of here. All right. But yeah, you know, you ever, you have somebody and you don't really want to talk to them, but then they catch you and you can't get around them. And so you start talking to them. And then after a while, you kind of get used to them. And then you're like, yeah, it's all right. Kind of like this person anyway. And then you just give up. And then you become friends. And it's not really because you wanted to. It's just because they're there. And you can't really avoid them. That's kind of how it is with my neighbor. The guy means well. There's nothing wrong with him. Like, he's all right. But then again, by the same measure, if I could just sort of time it so I don't encounter him on my way in or out, then that's like an extra bonus. That's how I feel with my coworkers too. Like, you know, you go to work on Monday and like, oh, hi, how's it going? What did you do on your weekend? I don't know. Like, just leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you about my weekend or anything like that because I don't really care about you. You know, like that's kind of how I feel. But, you know, it's probably not the right thing to say that sort of rudeness, so we wind up trying to be nice to people, even when we don't feel it. Maybe that's the challenge of life, to you know, to treat people kindly when you're tempted to think ill of them. Maybe it's to also figure out how to actually think kindly of them instead of being nice, but actually thinking something negative that you don't say. It's really important to forgive people because we all need forgiveness sometimes. We're all a little bit messed up in some way, one way or another. So I think it's important to remember that when we're tempted to be judgmental. There's something I thought was pretty interesting. Someone said, you know, the gods are perfect and they can see the loveliness and the beauty of the world and people. So if the gods can see the beauty in the world, then, you know, why can't we? You know, like if like we aren't perfect, and yet we seem to be really good at judging others. Yet that which is perfect doesn't judge anyone at all, because, well, nature does not hurry, and yet all things are complete. That is the end of our route, so we will pass it off to another driver who will carry on where we've left off. As always, good luck on your adventure, wherever your journey or your ride takes you. Till next time, thanks so much for watching.